Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Coffee Time with Almeida. How's it going, everybody? Um, I am going to be on today with a very special new friend, Shawn Mills. He's a videographer, photographer, and design. And, I started this show as a way to reconnect with friends, but here we are on his journey introducing me to new ones. Thank you very much, Coffee Time. Thanks, everybody, for watching and inspiring me to keep going. Today is episode 34. And then next week, by Friday, we'll be hitting episode 40. Oh my gosh. And then I'm going to take a break for about a week, probably just about a week. And then we're going to come back June 15th. I am doing this bike ride, Biking for Bars. It is in conjunction with the United States Bartenders Guild of Rhode Island and Campari. And we will be raising money. My team is a Plymouth team, and we have some really cool folks in that team. I'm sure trying to solidify everybody, and I'll announce that team later on today probably. But it's a bunch of service folks from Plymouth going down to Newport on June 15th, and it's going to be 5 of us, I believe, either 5 or 6. And we're all going to be properly social distance. Our team will be riding on their own, so we won't be riding next to another team. It's about a 20-mile bike ride through Newport, and we'll be doing some fundraising for that. And like I said, we'll be raising money for the United States Bartenders Guild National Charity Foundation. And anybody in the service business can apply for that grant if you're in need of money. So you don't have to be a member of the Bartenders Guild. You can just apply for it if you need help. All right, awesome. So just let me get over here and bring Shawn on. Shawn, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. My kid's being rowdy in the background, but otherwise. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Now, we have actually never met in real life before. We talked on the telephone. This is the first time we're actually seeing each other other than photographs on the internet. Well, you probably watched me a little bit, but hopefully not too much. So where do you live? You live the Somerset area, Fall River?
I do. I live in Somerset.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I grew up in Fall River with Amy Silva, who introduced us to each other. Thank you, Amy.
Right. Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I have a media company. I started in '93 and just had a love for it since I was a manager at Papa Gino's and was tired of having a babysitting job. And one of the students, he said, I'm going to go to New England Tech for video production. And I'm like, I want to do that. So the short version of the story is that a friend of mine friend now that wasn't then, and shot my sister's wedding, and asked if I could work for the bubble for him while going to school in New England Tech. And he said, save you money, I'll pay you to learn and get you to run my business. And then eventually you're going to want to run your own company. And that's how to make it in this industry. And that's exactly what I did. So kudos to Paul Boyven for doing that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have been doing it since the late 90s.
Yeah, started with tape to tape.
Oh, wow.
Started in early 90s. So 93 is when I got started actually 92 with the training with Paul. So
Paul, what was his last name?
Boyven.
Okay, I don't think I've ever met him before. Is he a Massachusetts guy?
Rhode Island.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a respiratory therapist. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was just a side hobby, and he's not keeping with the business anymore. But so.
So you were using tape like the old what the hell was that tape called? I had one of those old cameras that you had to put the tape in and then capture it to the computer.
Yeah, well, not the DAT tapes.
Yep.
Not those. Before then, it was high 8.
Oh,
it was
wow.
bigger tapes, and then we used Super VHS and a mixing board, and the Panasonic MX50. Yeah, so we did with a true A/B roll. So yeah, I that's a whole other story. If you want me to explain A/B roll, but
Ah,
People can
no,
Google it. Have people Google it.
no. I think really so you have been just advancing with technology as the time went along, and now you found
Yes.
yourself in the streaming business. You're streaming weddings, you're streaming rental property or like houses for sale. You're streaming funerals.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And
tell us about that.
sure, there's a big need for the streaming, especially as we're crawling out of this and crawling into the new norm, I should say. And so there's going to be a gigantic need for it. There's a percentage of people that can attend events, whether it be a wedding or a corporate event, where you have some keynote speakers, we're doing presentations, or you have um, any form of event. And in this case, we've been doing funerals, the open houses for virtual open houses where people can text in their questions and ask the realtor in real time as we walk around the room. Um, so that's the direction that I can see being a part of the new norm for quite some time, which is ironic because people have always found that the photography service that we provide has always been a must. Your brochures, your website, whether it be stock photography or custom, and you hire a photographer for your events. Video, for some reason, even though it's a huge part of our lives, right? It's TV, movies, and home videos with your phones, but yet to pay for those services, kind of like low on the priority list. But it's just interesting how it's now a very important part of people's lives, and they're about, I think it was a study done about, they predict around 20% of the folks out there will be seeing the need for paying for those video services. Anybody can pull out a phone and do it, and you can stream right to YouTube or Facebook or whatever format you want to use. But ultimately, to have it when it's really, really important, the high-end houses, the really big events like weddings, right? Things that you need to connect people with the streaming is where they're willing to pay. But where I find, not to give away all the secrets, but the edge that I have over my competition that they're not doing is we're bringing that connectivity with Zoom, like what we're doing right now. So now we can bring people in and send people out of the room, so they can have that natural conversation and converse. So for an example, at the funerals, we have pickup mics in the room, and folks can have conversation and with them on Zoom, and we use a large TV, and we're having the cameras next to it if they opt for that option. They don't have to. There's different price ranges for that. And then for the weddings, the intentions, we haven't done one yet, but we have some booked. And so the plan is to do the same thing, except instead of a television, we're going to have a large projection in the room, and we can use the band or DJ sound system as far as the microphones if people do want to speak, or it can be intimate and go up to a table. And my wife is over here standing next to me for some reason. Yes, you can start laundry. Okay, I didn't know it mess up your noise. No, go for it. So,
very considerate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, like you said, people can be like, "Oh, I can use my phone and stream this," but they can't really get the package together. And I think one of the most remarkable things that you offer is that you go there and you're wireless, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The wireless thing came about because there's a friend, Russ Doherty, who's also a videographer, and we go way back. And so he has a friend who's selling a house. It just so happened to be a gigantic house, 12,000 square feet house in Narragansett, and going for $17 million. So they're like, all right, we really got to up the ante here. We can't just go around with a phone, obviously, and do it that way. So we need to have a professional do it. And all of our equipment is wired. And so the long story short, I did some research and invested into some gear. So now it made it so we can have up to 10 different cameras, including phones if we wanted to position them throughout as pickup cameras, and then essentially go around the room with a Steadicam, and it has the transmitter going to the hub. And I'm not going to get into the techie end of it, but the end result is that we're wireless, and that wouldn't be possible to be wireless and battery powered to walk around a 12,000 square foot home and do it any justice. And then we choreographed it and had a second shooter also on a monopod positioned outside, inside, and that was me. We had another person on a Steadicam, and so we practiced it with the realtor going around and knowing where we need to be and when, because it's live and we're switching. Somebody's operating the switcher, and then we had somebody who's doing the moderating, fielding the questions essentially from people typing in on we used YouTube in that case. So they would text in their questions and the realtor would ask in real time. So that was the reason for the investment in that year. And it turns out it's really nice because it's a faster setup. It's wireless. It's great for the funerals. It's great for the weddings. It's an awesome system. It does an incredible job with 1080 streaming. So, yeah, so that's a little gear talk on that.
That's pretty remarkable. And do you get a direct link to the internet? It has its own wireless signal?
As long as you have Wi-Fi, or in this case, the hub itself. If you don't plan on moving around with the hub, then you can get that connected directly to the Ethernet and not need a laptop, and I can use the iPad. So it has to be with the unit we have, it has to be Apple products.
Yes. I'm on a Mac right now, and my Mac's a little bit older, so we're starting to go down the computers every day. You're like, oh, one more thing. But I was gonna say, so I'm streaming from a Mac. I'm plugged into my Wi-Fi here, my router at home, and I have a very basic setup, and it is not very reliable. What you have is like you turn it on and you go. Like you have, and that what you have to do what you do, right? Is something super stable, something very reliable. You can't let it go. It can't be going down. It's just got to be, especially if you're going live. Like you put so much work into your production, and you have to be able to have that technology. That's the backbone of your operation, right? So it has to be super solid.
Correct. Yeah. When we do the funerals, we want to make sure we tap into their Ethernet cable. And then we just run a 100-foot cable. If they don't have a port that we can tap into, we prefer not to go off of Wi-Fi. In this house, if I'm going to do some streaming, now I have family of 5 here with 3 kids, and everybody's Zooming in the morning. I'm having meetings. My wife's a school teacher. She's having meetings with her students. My kids are having meetings. So we've got 5 devices streaming all at the same time, and you can see the difference, even though we're all connected to the fastest internet in the house. And I've upped the ante for faster internet speed, and it's still not quite enough. And then I'm sorry?
Who's your provider? Sorry.
I use Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those lines need to be upgraded. You can pay extra for extra speed, but if they don't have the pipelines to support what you're paying for, in most places, you're not really getting what you're truly paying for. But, so that really hurts. But it's still a little bit more than the basic package, which is why I do it. And then I was streaming last week for a funeral, and they had DSL, and not so good. So even direct connect to that. So they have to make an investment to continue having us provide that service for their clients in there. So yeah, it's really important. And then the house that we were talking about, because it's right on the water, the structure was all steel construction, so going around the corners, no go. We lost internet connection when walking around in that particular house, but then we did a regular size house, no problem. So that, yeah, it's critical. It just needs to be explained if we're mobile, that there is a chance that we're going to break some connection or may get spotty.
And a lot of folks are using the internet right now, right? Like you said, in your house you have 5 people streaming stuff. Now multiply that times your whole neighborhood,
right?
Or whatever neighborhood you're working in.
Yep. Which is why we have a disclaimer on there, and it's all dependent on internet as well as electricity. So, but the good thing is that we are battery powered, so we're not depending on being plugged in per se. Even the hub is battery powered, and it's all being recorded directly to a card. So the mixing of everything is recorded, a live edit, and that helps us keep our costs down for the corporate end of things of what we do And so we come back and it's already edited, and then we just go ahead and stream the pre-recorded program. So, and then
sweet. So
do some
you don't really have to
extra
go in there and like
editing.
tighten it up or anything.
No, it's just really grabbing the detail shots. Like we have a licensed drone operator as well, and so we can go and get some aerial shots. We can get some nice B-roll shots and get some really attractive shots just to kind of help pretty things up and add a little bit of music, add some logo and any graphics that's needed. And then we also typically produce some nice highlight reels, whether it be corporate or weddings or funerals even. We have little highlight reels, so it's a shorter version of what people would like to see. It's just the meat of it. So
cool. Yeah, I watched some of your videos. Their production is beautiful.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been taking pictures. I call myself a photographer, but I'm not like, as I don't know if I can work on your team, but I find that the magic of the computer can help you out at the end of the day. You take a million pictures.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
No. How many folks do you roll out to an event with?
It is changing all the time. I believe the latest right now is still at a funeral home. I think it's 10 at the church. I believe they're doing like around 40. I know that they opened up at 40% capacity. I'm doing the first one, I believe, on Monday is going to be the first in that particular church of opening it up again for funerals in the church itself. So I believe they were told they can go up to 40 people. So, but that is changing day to day. So it's just a matter of, it's really not my responsibility. It's the priest or whoever is hosting.
Sure. And how many people on your team does it take to shoot this thing?
We are comfortable with 2.
Oh, wow.
When you go out. Yeah, 2 people, because technology happens and you need to be prepared to have something. For an example, we're rolling and our transmitter is a wireless transmitter. The battery, for some reason, wasn't plugged in correctly, and we have so many things that are going on at the same time. And I'm moderating, I'm shooting. We have somebody switching the edit. We have a moderator managing the people on Zoom when we're pulling people in. So there's a lot of parts and pieces that could go wrong. So the battery warning on the editing end of things, you can see the warning as well as on the device, and I missed it. And so the editor was like, look, I got to put this down for a second, Shawn, just stay in the wide because, I got to go. And we can almost communicate like sign language. So with our own version of sign language as to what's going on. And he came in and basically ran a power cable, and I powered it up. I think the outlet that I was plugged into was just dead. And the batteries, we want to make sure that they last long enough. So now we've learned from that, and now we have these called belt batteries, that they're big brick batteries, and so we're completely affordable for hours with these batteries to not have that problem again. So, but you just never know what's going to happen. So it's good to have somebody there as well. It's not professional if you just show up alone.
Sure.
When they're streaming, I'll go solo when recording only. But as soon as you introduce streaming and recording and everything, it's just too much. So, and even when I'm alone, I have backup cameras. So I have multiple camera angles going on for the important parts, like for a wedding, for an example, is people being introduced. That's kind of important, right? So you have to make sure that in the formal dances, and then the ceremony, of course, you have multiple cameras going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's stressful. I've shot a bunch of weddings. Usually I only do them for friends because I find it stressful, and I don't have a wedding business photography company, so there's so many moving parts,
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're alone and you're like, literally, I found myself sweating in the corner like so many times, being like, oh, my batteries are dying, oh, like my card's full, like all this crazy stuff. You're like, why did I say yes to this job?
That's why you pay a professional, because they made the mistakes. They learn from them, and you're prepared for anything and everything. Multiple cameras, batteries, everything, cards like crazy. Yeah, I like shooting when I do photos. I love shooting on multiple cards
Hmm.
because you can, yeah, I can get a 128 gig card and fire away all day long and make it through the whole day. And that card broke,
You're
right?
done. You're done. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to work on trying to recover it, or it just somehow got lost or whatever. But yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're done. I loved having it on multiples, and then I have a hard drive and a laptop, and I'm backing it up.
mm.
So,
Yeah, I have a. It's old now, but I have a Canon 5D Mark III,
yep,
and that has two slots in it, so I can record to a CF card and an SD card.
yes,
You know,
yeah,
which.
and probably RAW and JPEG simultaneously. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
yep, it's
And
nice.
I'm really psyched. I love that camera. Unfortunately, Canon just came out with an update to let you live stream with your DSLR,
Yes,
but they don't have a patch for the 5D Mark III yet.
right,
Not
right.
that it would work on my old Mac, but
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
but yeah, I'm like, oh my, because I was trying to do it when I first started doing the show. It's like, oh, let's see if I can hook up my 5D in the computer and live stream it. And I was doing a video capture with OBS, but it was just like too janky.
Mm, mm.
You know. Oh, there's your what you got in that cup? Some a little bit of water.
Oh, yeah, I got some water in there. I'd tip it and show you, but it'd kind of make a mess.
Oh,
But
I've been
yeah,
tempted to
this
buy
is
one of
my,
those. I've seen those. That's pretty sweet. That
yeah,
thing is sweet.
yeah, they're cool. But
I think I have that lens somewhere hanging around.
yeah,
So have you always been into taking
it's an R
pictures?
series lens.
Oh, is it?
Well, it's got the red ring at the top.
Yeah. Have you
L
always been
series
into taking
rather.
photographs?
Photographs I wanted to do it. In fact, I started doing photos before video when I was a little kid with the polar camera with spitting out the photograph, and I enjoyed doing that. And also, actually, I was shooting with film too back when I was a kid, and I got lots of compliments on that. And I was like, really, that'd be kind of cool to make that into a career. And then, but then when I was older and was realizing this is what I wanted to do, I just liked imagery. And so then I started with video, but because I was too afraid to do film, it was too risky for me to go and shoot a wedding on film. And then once digital came out, then I was playing with it right away. And then to the point where I got comfortable enough with it. And then it got to the point where professionals were comfortable enough to use it as a format. And then I started doing it. So
Hmm.
whatever year that was, late 90s, I would say, or um, I think it was in the late 90s when I started doing that. So, um, but what was I going to say? I had a good thought that was running in the back of my head, and now it went away. So
Story
it
of my
was,
life.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it was a good
um,
point too.
Taking photos, taking video, inspiration maybe.
Yeah, no, it was just a lot. Oh, I know what it was. Thank you. So I I would say that I'm a little bit different when it comes to the industry as to why people get into the industry. They get into it because they love gadgets and they love showing off with what they can do with special effects, whether it be photography or video. I'm not a gearhead. I'm not a tech head. I actually hate technology. It's a tool that I have to use because what I like to do is create emotion and how people feel when they look at my work, more like an art than an effect. So I take pride in using minimal effects as possible with my productions. And what I try to do, I just try to keep everything looking natural and what it looks like with your naked eye. And then for the weddings, I call myself an emotion hunter. Um, the rest of the industry, they're all about producing film and cinematography effects and attempts. I can get the cinematic looks with the same type of gear that they use. I'm just not into, for an example, I don't want to be on the ground on my knees with this slider and getting this nice slider shot of details like flowers on the ground during the formal photos when the photographer is busy taking the photos while there's great emotion and laughter and conversation going on. Is that flower shot worth it? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's
If you
boring.
get us,
I mean,
yeah, I mean it's artistic. It's
yeah,
definitely it's
yeah.
not back in the day where people on the tripod on the dance floor with this big monitor panning back and forth. Stuff you'd want to fast forward. You don't have to fast forward with today's stuff anymore, right? So that they've got that going for them. It looks really attractive. I think they're missing a point in a wedding video. I feel like the point in a wedding video is to remember the day the way it was, not to watch. At this point, you might as well just be watching a photo montage, because they're just pretty. But and they've got sound bites. They're all doing the same thing. They all, not to say that they're bad, but over the creativity, there's no wrong. This is just opinion, right? So, in theory, there is bad, but but it's just they just take sound bites from Toast and all of the the bows and these different sound bites, and they put it to shots. And it's a toss salad. Nothing's in numerical order, where I keep things in numerical order, and how it happened. And I don't know. Same thing with the corporate. I'm just always after that emotion, which is what I've always enjoyed doing, is to say, okay, my friend Russ says, he's got many lines, but he's like, I can outshoot just about anybody with a Fisher Price camera. So, yeah.
Well, my dad always used to say, it's not about the golf club, it's the player.
Right. Exactly. Very nice. Yes.
I remember I was picking out a guitar to go to college with, and he's like, it doesn't matter what guitar you get, it depends on how good you are, So,
right.
Same thing with the cameras, right? I mean, you see a lot of, I have friends who are buying medium formats right now that are out taking some pretty awesome pictures,
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So what are you looking forward to the next couple of weeks?
Well, that's a great question. I'm looking forward to a response, hearing back from a realtor who's got some connections with a company, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. So they have about over 100 houses on the market at the moment, and so I'm waiting to hear back and see where that goes. And all their 500,000 plus homes, they're looking into including the service into what they do, which makes sense.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that would be a lot. And then I'm just reaching out to some more funeral homes. I'm creating jobs for my friends in the industry, because a lot of people are not working right now. And so I'm training folks internally as well, and just to create some jobs for the streaming of what's going on, and then reaching out to some reception facilities and for their corporate and wedding events, and to let know that we're available for them for the streaming needs. It's just a direction that I'm going into. And then I'm also happy that things are, I'm going to be able to I can get together with corporate clients and produce our dynamic, engaging content for their social media without being frowned upon by the public, because it makes them look bad because they're not social distancing. I look bad because I'm not, but now we can still do it in a safe manner and build this dynamic content, which is important, which is why I have this obnoxious logo behind me. I have to practice what I preach, you got to stand out, and that's pretty much what we do. So I would suggest, anytime you want to put social media content out there, you need to make sure that it does stick, because otherwise you're just going to get scrolled by, and looking professional isn't enough. You have to make sure it stands out and get out of the comfort zone, which is what we're known to do, is push people to that limit without being inappropriate for the industry that they're in, and do whatever it is that we have to do. Paul and Drake is a realtor, and I had her popping up behind a rock. So like multiple times and stuff, whatever it takes, just to get people's attention within 5 seconds.
So I'm in the restaurant business. I've been in the restaurant business for a while. I've always lent my visual tech to whatever restaurant I'm working for, So whether that be right now, just creating social media content, and since I'm a bartender, I can't go bartend. But I've always worked back at the house on the computer stuff, and this is definitely interesting, where like creating this content and moving forward, seeing that it's going to be much bigger of the picture overall of what we do. And we always did a lot of social media, but I feel like across the board, no matter what industry you're in, the whole COVID thing has launched us into even further into us making content for the internet and live streaming and just getting all your stuff out there as kind of almost as much as possible, without being too obnoxious. But like you're definitely right about the quality has to be there for sure.
Right, right. But again, looking professional isn't enough. You got to get to that point where you almost feel uncomfortable doing something and do it, because in humor, emotion, again, going back to their emotion thing, you got to invoke emotion and get people to pay attention. Super Bowl commercials are really good, and that's by design to keep you from going to the refrigerator, right? So they're going to spend all that money on their advertising, then they're going to want to make sure that it gets people to stay in their seat. So they use a lot of emotion and humor. My favorite one is Danny DeVito floating in 2 years ago in milk chocolate, and it was an M&M commercial. He's just floating in it, saying Super Bowl. It was one of my favorites. So.
Oh man, yeah. It's definitely interesting to see where everything's headed.
It really is. It's funny too how many new businesses are forming because of it, because people are being forced to think out of the box and go with the new norm. So
it's funny why you say how about putting yourself into uncomfortable situations. Like I never thought I would be doing a morning show, and I cringe when I watch myself back most of the time. But that being said,
doing great.
I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna keep doing this. I'm just gonna keep doing it. And now I met you, and I've been meeting some cool people, and I have a lot of cool friends all across the country. I kind of feel like I have to do this.
Sure.
And it's been a lot of fun, and it's opening some new doors for me, and also seeing things from a different point of view as far as getting the live content out there and being able to do that with other aspects of things I'm involved with. Maybe learn some new software.
Right. Well, we have to get together maybe at some point.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Well, I'm gonna let you go here. My chickens are going crazy. My kids are going crazy.
Absolutely. Well, it was really a pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no, this is awesome, and I definitely know some folks that would be interested in your funeral streaming services and probably your other stuff too. So I'm going to share your links out there, and as soon as I know somebody that needs something else, I'm going to send them your way.
Awesome.
And I'm just going to have you hold on there while I say goodbye to everybody, and I'll be right back. All right, great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Shawn. All right, folks. Coffee Time with Almeida, episode 34. Almost done. Man. It's gonna listen to me jibber jab for a couple more seconds here. So yes, let me read off my little scripty here. I'm gonna say biking for bars ride Monday, June 15th. Team Drink Strong. Yes, our Plymouth folks are gonna go down to Rhode Island and raise some money for bartenders. It's gonna be awesome. And then tomorrow I should have musician Mike McHugh on. He's a Plymouth musician. He's a teacher of the music. He is a performer of the music. Cool guy, very chill, laid back. Maybe we'll play some music. I don't know what's gonna happen. I gotta call him up today and see what we're actually gonna talk about. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for listening. And please follow me on Facebook, Almeidathon. You can find me on Instagram, Almeida_thon, also Almeidathon. And I will be sharing out Shawn's links today. His info is on the Coffee Time website if you guys haven't checked it out yet. And you can follow him on all his social medias and check out his very impressive websites. Really nice work he does. So, all right, folks, I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to leave you with my silly outro song. And I am working on some new content that will humiliate me in front of the internet. Trust me. It's coming maybe tomorrow or next week. All right, folks, enjoy the day. Won't you join me for a really fun time?